This is funny. So, people are asking him, "Are you going to pardon her?" And he's like, "Well, I could. I have the authority to." And it's like, Donald, that's not helping you. That is not helping you. Okay. I don't want to, by all means, keep doing things that don't help yourself. I don't want to be your PR person here.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if I were, I would have my hand over my eyes right now. Like,
It's just ears, eyes, anything. Yes, you'd be listening to
yes,
bagpipe music rather than this, wouldn't you? Really?
exactly, exactly.
Hello, everyone out there, and welcome to our own little red, white, and blue corner of the internet. This podcast is called Washington to Westminster. As the name suggests, it's a British and American light-hearted look at the dark-hearted people that run our respective countries. My name is Matt Johnston. I host a show called The Interesting Times, and creator and co-host of the Phoenix News Network is Andrew Bridges-Smith. Now, Andrew, we've had the pleasure of your president's company over here, well, actually in Bonnie, Scotland. And he, of course, showed all the social graces and awareness of a flatulent warthog. And, and I thought it was rather amusing. One of the papers wrote about Keir Starmer's expressionless face finally working for him. So, what do you reckon, Andrea?
Well, lots to discuss with our two leaders meeting over there. But before I get into all that, I have a very important question to ask you. What is your position on bagpipes?
Now, my position on bagpipes is very much this.
For those listening, Matt has his fingers in his ears there. I agree. I despise bagpipes. I have always thought that they sounded a little bit like an animal being tortured, and I think they are loud and screechy. And I've just always hated them until now.
Oh, what changed?
Well, I don't know if you've seen this video of Trump. He's trying to talk to reporters, and he's just getting totally drowned out by this bagpiper.
That's going to be a lot of jobs for here and great for America. And, in terms of even.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, that is music to my ears. Anything that drowns out the sound of Trump's voice, that is completely fine with me. Bagpipes, you have redeemed yourselves.
Bagpipes, you are no longer at the bottom of most hated musical instruments. Get out of the way, Vuvuzela, coming through.
Yeah, so Trump was in Scotland, of course, meeting with Keir Starmer. And I guess the big news was what is going on in Gaza. Well, also the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, which stubbornly refused to stay on its own damn side of the Atlantic, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And Trump appeared to break with Netanyahu and say that there is famine happening in Gaza and that the U.S. has a problem with this. They do not agree with this. Now, Starmer, of course, took it a step further, and after France said that they would recognize Palestine as a nation, Starmer threatened to do the same if the Palestinians didn't get some food ASAP. So I'm curious, what the reaction been like to Starmer's decision?
I think the reaction is very much about bloody time. I've seen the sorts of protests you guys, and indeed everyone else around the world, has had against this horror, and the Brits have also gone out in force. Interestingly, and indeed horrifyingly, there is actually a peaceful protest group in this country called Palestine Action. Now, they climbed over a fence at a UK Air Force base and basically threw paint at a disused plane. That's it. They've now been proscribed as a terrorist organization. So even supporting them could land you 14 years in jail.
So if we said we didn't think that was the worst idea ever, does that make us terrorists?
I think you'll probably have to go a stage further than that.
Okay.
But I would not recommend doing so. The funny thing is that up until now, everybody's been saying, oh, Starmer's very much against free speech, blah, blah, blah. These are all the right wingers saying it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when something like this happens for Palestine Action, they're all, oh, yeah, good idea, good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little light vandalism, but 14 years in jail for a little bit of paint sounds kind of a lot.
Yeah. There was some protests happening. Well, there's protests ongoing just about every single day, but certainly over the weekends. And at one point, a retired 83-year-old vicar was arrested for holding up a placard. You're like, come on, come on.
So yeah, I guess you don't have to do much to be a terrorist these days.
No, no. So I'm no more convinced by Starmer's reactions to this, by the way, than I suspect you are by Trump's. I mean, Starmer's clearly been pushed into it by his MPs, who in turn have been pushed into it by the British people themselves.
Well, then excellent work, British people. I saw a few articles about this that I thought were very interesting. So yesterday, kind of in line with your vicar over there, there was a group of rabbis who was arrested for having a sit-in in the Senate Majority Leader's office and praying for food to reach the Gazan people. And there was another article that said that 2 Israeli human rights groups concluded that Israel is committing genocide. These are Israeli groups saying that their own country is committing genocide. And then there was another one that said there was a group of high-profile Israelis have all signed a letter calling for, quote, crippling sanctions to their own country. And I've been struck by the reaction of Jewish people to this thing that is supposedly being carried out in their name. It seems like at this point, only a very small amount of people in Israel think that starving Palestinian babies is a good idea. And unfortunately, it's the group with access to all the weapons that we gave them. And that made me wonder, are you guys still giving weapons to Israel?
You want the official or unofficial line?
That's always the question, isn't it?
Yes. Well, okay, the official line is no. We aren't supplying weapons to Israel, but unofficially, we are flying planes in that sort of direction, which may or may not have parts for murder on board.
Yeah.
What about the States? Are you going gun-ho with the guns?
That is kind of our specialty. And yes, no signs of slowing that down anytime soon. The situation has gotten so dire in Gaza that Marjorie Taylor Greene has actually said something reasonable on Twitter.
Okay, well, I'm all ears, and let's. What did she say? Let's catch this.
Okay, so she said this of Representative Randy Fine. So he posted something saying, release the hostages. Until then, starve away, which was just a little bit insensitive. This guy may be a shoe-in for Netanyahu's next cabinet pick. But in response to that, she said, quote, it's the most truthful and easiest thing to say that October 7th in Israel was horrific and all hostages must be returned. But so is the genocide, humanitarian crisis, and starvation happening in Gaza. So she actually used the word genocide there. That makes her the first Republican congressperson to do so. And she continues, but a Jewish U.S. representative calling for the continued starvation of innocent people and children is disgraceful. His awful statement will actually cause more anti-Semitism. Matt, what do you think about what she had to say there?
Wow. I have to say she's spot on, which is a phrase I thought I would never say about MTG, but there we go.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's a low bar, right? Asking people to condemn genocide, but it's one so many of our representatives seem to struggle with. In fact, there was Priti Patel has now sort of gone on record to, Starmer's now turned around, and, as you mentioned, talked about the fact that Palestine, in his eyes and UK's eyes, could become a state. And she said, oh, you're just bowing to your MPs. Yes, who are bowing to the people. We understand how democracy works, don't we?
Right. Exactly. Yeah, I wondered, I was thinking about this the other day. The photos and video that are coming out of Gaza are appalling. They're absolutely awful, and they make it all the way around the world in just a matter of a few seconds. And I am wondering if we had had this back in the 1940s, if the Holocaust could have been shortened or not done at all, because people would have started seeing these pictures and going, hey, wait a minute, but I think there was so much less known then. But then I look at what is happening today when people do know about it, and it's like, yeah, I don't actually know if we would have helped.
It's funny enough. Yeah, I think we had a stronger moral compass back in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's worth mentioning that the UK didn't go to war because of the concentration camps. They went to war because Germany invaded Poland.
Yeah.
Which apparently, I thought it was us and France, but apparently it was the UK that kind of declared war first, and France did so shortly after.
Yeah.
and everybody just, piled in, as it were, over the next
Right.
few years. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting back to Marjorie Taylor Greene, this is actually the second time in just a few weeks that I have agreed with her about something, and I'm starting to feel like I'm in a Dolly painting where the clocks are melting. What is reality anymore, you know?
You got me.
So the other thing that I agree with her with is that she has been calling for the full release of all the Epstein files, which I don't know if you've heard this yet, but Donald Trump now says that his name may have been planted in the Epstein files. And then, just as to be a nice guy, to be respectful of everyone's time, he immediately disproved his own argument.
Yeah. To be fair to him, he's very good at that sort of introspective idiocy.
Yes, exactly. So he got asked about the files, and Trump said, I'll do the voice. It's a hoax that's been built up by those way beyond proportion. Those files were run by the worst scum on earth. They were run by Comey. They were run by Garland. They were run by Biden. Those files were run for 4 years by those people. If they had something, they would have released. And just to back that train up a little bit, in case you're lost, thank you. Let me just lay down a trail of breadcrumbs for you here and see if you can follow me to the end of this tunnel. So the Biden administration had these files for 4 years. They planted Donald Trump's name in the files to make him look guilty, and then they didn't release them after they doctored them because there was nothing in there. Is that all making sense to you, Matt?
I love it when a plan falls apart. So, what else has he said? I mean, he's still trying to work his way out of this, obviously, but what else has he said?
Well, there's kind of too many things to count at this point that he said, because he keeps getting asked about this and he keeps saying, oh, it's nothing, but, and then he keeps trying to offer explanations that are different from the explanations that he offered the day before. So the latest one is that he said that one of Epstein's most famous victims had worked at Mar-a-Lago until Epstein hired her away, which raises a lot more questions than it answers.
Yes.
So, overall, just doing a great job of making that story go away. No need, nothing to see here, by continuing to not shut up about it and then offering a new explanation every day, none of which match up with each other.
The wonderful thing about all this is that everybody out there, let's be honest, knows what's happened, right? Are you familiar with Occam's razor?
Yes.
Okay, so for those out there that don't know, Occam's razor is simply that the most obvious explanation is usually the correct one. That's how detectives solve a lot of crimes. It's how when you go and see a doctor, well, they send you off for these tests straight away, that sort of thing. And the most obvious point here is that Donald Trump essentially is on the list because Donald Trump was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein and flew to Jeffrey Epstein's island, where he had, shall we say, relations with underage girls.
Yes, that is the Occam's razor explanation for all of this. Also, someone pointed this out the other day, and it did make me want to hurl a brick into a wall, which is that these women have offered testimony. There is testimony out there, and if you just read it and believed what they had to say, then you wouldn't need another smoking gun because there already is one.
Yeah.
So we could just do that. We could just believe the people that have told their stories.
He's talking about giving a pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yes, this is funny. So people are asking him, are you going to pardon her? And he's like, well, I could. I have the authority to. And it's like, Donald, that's not helping you. That is not helping you, okay? I don't want to, by all means, keep doing things that don't help yourself. I don't want to be your PR person here.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
If I were, I would have my hand over my eyes right now.
Just ears, eyes, anything. Yes. You'd be listening to bagpipe music rather than this, wouldn't you? Really?
Exactly.
Another thing I saw, a story actually, just shortly before we came on air, that he's thinking of pardoning P. Diddy. Have you seen that?
Oh, no, I hadn't seen that. What for?
I don't know how true it is. I just saw the headline, so don't take too much from me.
Grain of salt, but can you imagine if he pardoned Ghislaine Maxwell and P. Diddy on the same day, like a circus, an absolute circus.
And the mental gymnastics that his supporters would have to do for him still to be the good guy in all this.
Their brains must be getting a real workout right now with the trapezery that is required. So Matt, let's wrap up with a little bit of a lighter story. So since, anytime you have to talk about genocide on a comedy podcast, it does tend to bring the mood down just a smidge. So I'm curious, do you guys have Venmo in the UK?
Yes, we do. I had to Google it. I'll be honest, I thought it was a fizzy drink. Then I realized that was something called Vimto. Have you heard of Vimto?
No.
Okay, it's like I think it's fizzy, but it's a blackcurrant fizzy drink. Not relevant to Venmo, but yes, there we go.
You could use Venmo to buy a Vimto. That's
Right.
That's how they're related. Well, I asked because I saw a story that Americans now have the option to Venmo our government money to help pay down the national debt.
Okay, isn't that just called taxes?
You would think so, but no, this is different. This is for people who think that they don't pay enough in taxes already, and for anybody who's worried about the national deficit and wants to help out, and they want to pay more than their fair share of taxes. So far, the donations add up to zero because that describes absolutely no one.
The strange thing. I understand. There's a certain element there where you're sitting there thinking, well, let's give it a go. You're just expecting the American government next to set up a, crowdfundme or something like that. It's just, where's the harm? You got to pay 10% to the website or whatever, but the rest of it we can keep.
So do you think there's a world that exists in which Starmer would ever say, hey guys, if you would like to donate some extra scratch to the government, here's an app where you can do it. Can you picture that happening in the UK?
Not like that, but here's a funny thing, because just about everybody outside of the government has been calling for a wealth tax. We're suffering with the cost of living crisis over here as well. At the same time, there's been more billionaires than there's ever been at any time in the history of this country. So they're saying just 10% wealth tax and stuff. And there's, I can't remember the name of the group. I think it's Patriotic Millionaires or something they're called. And they're all calling for the wealth tax as well. They're all turning around and saying, we'd like actually to be able to pay more tax. So yeah, it's one. I don't think Starmer's going to introduce it because reasons, but
too popular.
Sure, but it'll be a good idea, I think. Yeah, let's Venmo it.
Sure, yeah.
So you're saying is zero. When did it get set up?
I think this is pretty recent.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Can you go on the website itself and see, is there like a trickle sort of thing, and will it show this is what people are paying?
That is a good question. I have not actually seen the website myself. I just read a news article about this, but that would be an interesting thing to find out. I will. I can make a note to check on that and report back.
Report back next week. Let's jump into that next week. Now, before we go, one final thing. So I'm sat at home the other day and the buzzer goes for the intercom. I answer it. A chap goes, delivery. I thought, okay, not expecting anything. He comes up, he hands me a box and just hands it over and goes on his way. Now, regular viewers of the show will know I told a story about my apartment basically being a cover for some drug smuggling happening from America. So I was a bit concerned when I got a parcel from the United States. However, I got instantly slightly more relieved when I realized the sender was one Austin Dobson.
Yes.
Of course, your co-host. There we go. So thank Austin. I'm going to open it. Well, I've already opened it, but I'm going to open it again for the benefit of everybody here. One thing he sent over was tortillas.
Yes.
Which I've eaten quite a load of them already, so they're in the kitchen. I won't get there,
they're
but
good,
I'll show you the rest of. Yeah, they're butter tortillas. I never had those before. Delicious.
Yeah.
It's various other things about Texas in here. Got some. is no, I won't show you the note, but Salt Lick Dry Rub Original.
Yes.
I'm sure you're supposed to put it in a cup, though, aren't you? You're not supposed to rub it on anything, are you?
No, that's for meat. So if you use like any red meat that you're cooking, like yeah,
I
you
thought it was
rub it in
coffee.
there. Oh no, 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 no.
I thought, what a strange name for coffee. There we go.
That is so funny.
Right. So, yeah. So it's basically like a spicy sort of meat thing.
Yeah, you rub that in, and then you can grill it, or cook it in the oven or something, and it's very good. So
I will keep hold of that. Brilliant.
okay.
He also sent me one can. He's obviously never gone drinking with the Brits before. One can of Lone Star beer.
Yes, that's
Good.
important. That is
Okay.
not the most expensive beer, but it is the most Texas beer. So I will just say that.
Most Texas beer. Look out for that. And also a pack of cards. I just read this. I beg your pardon. It's got the Austin blanks on there. But yes, there's a pack of cards, various sort of.
Oh, okay, yes.
So
Austin landmarks and stuff. Yeah.
I haven't opened them. Are these playing cards?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And along with the everything else, a couple more things. We've got. I understand everything in Texas is bigger. So here we go. This is your idea of a shopping basket. Crikey.
Yes, that
Texas
is
forever.
Yes, that is an excellent shopping bag to take with you down to the shops, and you'll get lots of questions, and you'll make some new friends. So,
Is Texas forever a Texan shop?
no, that's just kind of, just a yay Texas kind of a saying. But
Okay.
the bag is from H-E-B, which is where the tortillas are from. H-E-B is a very famous grocery store in Texas, and it has been called the fourth branch of Texas government because during natural disasters, they really help show up for the community and things like that. So they are beloved. So because of that, and the tortillas and the giant shopping bags.
Yeah, I'll give them. They've been delicious. I like them especially. Texas forever, by the way, is how long this bag is obviously going to last.
Yes.
Certainly outlast me. And finally, I'm not sure how I feel about this. He's given me a sign saying most medium at news.
Okay. Do you want to know the context of that? I don't know if you've seen the last couple of episodes of our Monday show.
Oh, okay. No, I'll tell you what I've watched. I've watched the shorts. I watched
Okay,
the longer
great.
shorts.
So during our longer episodes, we started doing a news quiz. And the first week I quizzed Austin, and the winner gets a plaque that says Best at News. Yes.
Yes.
And the loser gets a paperclip necklace that says News Loser. And then if you get half the questions right, you get a most medium at news.
Right.
So I think he had an extra magnet and sent that to you. But we would like to invite you at some point to be our quiz master if you're up for it. Okay, great. Then we will put that together at some point, and you can take the news quiz if you like. Either way, it's up to you. But the best at news. Spoiler alert: I have not been the best at news lately. I have been a news loser. So I've been reading more headlines than actual details in the articles. So,
Who sets the
but there's a
questions?
lot of news.
Who sets the questions?
Well, the first week I did the questions and I asked Austin, and the second week he asked me the questions and he came up with the questions. Last week, our producer Abby came up with the questions. So yes, it varies from week to week.
Interesting.
So yes, that is all we have time for today, but we are going to be back next week with another episode. In the meantime, you can head to Matt's channel, The Interesting Times, for an update on the Bellens from the Brit end. And on the Yankee Doodle side of the Atlantic, we will be back on Monday with our next news quiz. Let's show up and just see who happens to be there. But as Matt said, we release fun stuff pretty much every day, so keep an eye out for that. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.